thank you especially to In Defense of Christians. I need to first give credit to where it is due to folks like Minar and folks like Tufik and folks like Kirsten, who've done heroic work. But the success of In Defense of Christians, I think, first and foremost, speaks to the fact that you're addressing and amplifying and elevating issues that really matter to Americans, right? This is not like, this is nothing other than what we believe as Americans. People should be free to live their lives. People should be free to practice their faith. People should be safe from persecution and intolerance and genocide. I think the success of the organization is, like I said, the result of a lot of work, but also the fact that the values are very much American values. And I think that's why we've seen such success over the past year and more. As an Armenian, it means a lot to be here. My own family fled the Armenian Genocide, found safe haven in Syria, ultimately in Lebanon, and then the family made its way to the United States. So in a sense, as Armenians, we're experiencing this for a second time. And I think those who have seen this type of persecution with their own eyes, in a sense, through their nation's eyes, bear a special responsibility to help prevent that type of evil from being visited upon others. I think certainly the Jewish American community has played a powerful leadership role in this regard. I think the Armenians have worked very hard in this regard as well. All those who've experienced this, right? When we read the stories, when we see the video, when we watch the photos of what's happening today in Syria and Iraq and elsewhere, it reminds us in the most profound ways of the experiences of our own families. We need to fight that, and I think, you know, when we ask ourselves, well, what is the answer? What is the answer? And it can get really complicated. You get into the military side, and the political side, and the diplomatic side. I think at its very, very core, right, the American response and the world response to genocide, right, must be a moral one. It is a moral imperative. Sadly, the reality of the world's response and our own government's response, and it makes me very sad to say that as an American, has been to treat genocide and our response to genocide as a political commodity. Look at how we treat today the leader of Sudan, right? Omar al-Bashir is, we do business with him because it's the stuff of politics that we need to do business with him. Let us see, how do we treat the Republic of Turkey and its denial of the Armenian Genocide? Well, we do business with them because we need to do business with them. I would say, and I would argue, that if we can, and this is a long process, it's the work of generations, right? But if we can elevate the response of our nation, right, to genocide from a political choice to a moral imperative, then all the pieces will fall into place, right? But right now, the perpetrators of genocide know that if they commit these crimes and they have sufficient political will and sufficient political power, they can get the world to back off, to not intervene, and ultimately to buy into the lies. Because I guarantee you, the crimes that are being committed today will be denied tomorrow. They will be denied tomorrow. And if they have sufficient power, the deniers of those crimes will get away with it. And the atrocities against Yezdis and Christians and others will be written out of the history books because it's inconvenient to remember them. So I'll close with a thought, right? I think it was Cain, right, who asked, am I my brother's keeper, right? And certainly the answer to that question is it's a moral question, right? And it's a theological question. But let us not think that it's also not a political question, right? It is a false choice to think that the suffering of others will never impact me, right? It is a false choice to say, well, we cannot take this moral stand because there's a material cost. Does anyone really think that America is going to prosper by remaining silent in the face of genocide? Does anyone think that the world will be a safer place by virtue of our silence in the face of genocide? Those are absolutely false choices. Genocide needs a powerful response, it needs a moral response. When we as a society, when we as a state, when we as a government and an international community respond to genocide morally, right, then we will find the will, right, take the concrete steps to prevent that genocide and to punish that genocide. As long as we treat genocide as a political commodity, we'll fall short again and again, and we'll see the type of suffering that we see today again and again. Thank you very much.